I did want to ask the did you sort of develop this nihilism? Like, how was your journey at, at the deepest depths? What I mean, if you're comfortable describing that, I mean, because for many who deconvert, they fall into this sometimes permanent, but often or most of the time, hopefully temporary pit of nihilism, and they become self-destructive and, well, hateful. You've already described was a trait. So I'm just wondering, was there any of that? How far did that sort of reach?
You know, I don't think, and I didn't think then, right, that there's any sort of, you lose this sense of, I hate using these words, but like ultimate or like ultimate purpose, or you just, but I never lost my love of life, and I never lost the conviction that the way I treated other people and the way other people made me feel and my relationships with my significant other or my friends didn't matter. To me, what does it mean? Like, people like to say that if it doesn't matter in eternity, or it doesn't matter a billion years from now, then it doesn't matter at all. And I think that is a wretched way to live one's life. It's it matters. It clearly matters the way you treat people just every day. Why do we have to have this sort of ultimate internal backdrop to everything that is the only way in which we can create the contrast necessary to bring about meaning? I reject that entirely as a mode of meaning, as the only way that one can experience meaning in their life. So I didn't I guess you could say that I agree with the premise of nihilism, and that like there's no maybe ultimate meaning, but the way in which most nihilists live their life, or they're all very pessimistic, and everything, nothing has any meaning, and it leads to depression. I That just wasn't a road I went down. I loved life, and I loved living, and I love learning. And so to me, I didn't fall into this pit of despair. um it just wasn't something that happened for me.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing. I mean, people like William Lane Craig or Frank Turek try and imply that the only person's values and fundamental principles in life are predicated on this religion aspect. But like you said, you had interests independent from your belief. And so when you lost that belief, you had actually a foundation to still stand on. Whereas, and this is what happens, I'm sure, in many cases, the foundation is so predominantly set in this religious ethos that that is all they have. And when it's taken away from them, they're falling. And that is the permanent nihilism that I'm sure many have found themselves in. But I'm very glad that you had something, you had a backdrop, you had this critical mentality of, okay, well, there are things still, regardless of moral relativism and and mortality. There's still things to value as things are going on in a temporary way. And I think that is a caricature of, William Lane Craig makes, Frank Turek, a lot of these religious figureheads. They just make it out as if you lose your faith, you've got nothing. It's like, I mean, what are you talking about? It's just absurd that religion is just a sort of a lens to view the world, and to say that that's the only option, or even that you need that lens in the first place, that is just so absurd. um when something's just so ridiculous that it's even difficult to summarize all the different things possibly that are wrong with it. It's one of those things that is just such a broad statement to make, such a um yeah, it's just such a bad argument, basically.